Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting that like button. Make sure you're hitting that like button now. Apologize for the lateness. I was supposed to be here like 15 minutes ago. Some other stuff ran a little later than I expected. But hey, we here now. We here now. We about to get ready to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? But make sure you're hitting that like button though. Y'all gotta make sure you're hitting the like button because you see it is. You know what I'm saying? You see what it is. You know what it is. You know exactly what time it is. What time we is on. What time we is on. So make sure you're hitting that like button now. Let some of y'all come up in here real quick. Let y'all get ready. You know what I'm saying? Let y'all boys get ready. You know what I'm talking about? Make sure you're hitting that like button. Oh, excuse me. But yeah, let some of y'all get up in here. Yes, H-Town, let's get it. Hey, H-Town, I know y'all seen that field already. Field, man. What's the deal? I see, yeah, what's the deal? Make sure you hit that like button now. Come on now. Hey, yeah, what's good with you, man? Yo, what's good with you? What's good with you? Already. But yeah, so y'all boys see y'all ready. So the Houston Texans will face the Buffalo Bills Sunday at noon o'clock, you know what I'm saying, in the city. You know what I'm saying? We breaking out the H-Town blue jerseys, H-Town Day, you know what I'm talking about, H-Town Blue Day, you know what I'm saying? It's about down, you know what I'm saying? The city, we got the color back in the city. It's about to go down. It's about to go real. It's about to go down for real. But what should we expect? Because both the Houston Texans and the Buffalo Bills both are coming in 3-1. As it stands right now, we know we're a quarter into the season. Four games underneath our belts. Quarter into the season, both teams standing 3-1. As I checked, it looks like the Texans will be the second seed. The playoffs will start today. The Texans will be the 2 seed. He's the only undefeated team in the AFC. It being 4-0, so they will have the number 1 seed. Houston is the 2 seed. I think they had Pittsburgh as the 3 seed, and Buffalo was the 4 seed. Not mistaken. This game is actually very crucial when it comes to eating, honestly. Like this is a very crucial game. Like we could talk about the Stephon Diggs and the Josh Allens and all this type of stuff later. But this is a very crucial. I don't know if you guys have noticed. So the Houston Texans have been to the playoffs 7 times in their history. 7 times. We've been to the playoffs 7 times. We've never went as a wild card. We always had been going in as a division leader. So we've won the AFC South 7 times, to the playoffs 7 times. Of those 7 times, we've advanced to the second round, the divisional round, 5 times. The problem is that all 5 of those advances have always been going to on the road. We've never had more than 1 playoff game at home, and we've never won a playoff game on the road. We've only won a playoff game inside NRG, and that's 5 times. And then the following round, which we've never got past, all 5 of those divisional games were on the road. At Baltimore in 2011, at New England in 2012, at New England in 2016, at Kansas City in 2019, and 2023 at Baltimore again. So we've been to Baltimore twice in the division round, New England twice in the division round. The other time was at Kansas City. So we've always been on the road in the second round. We've never won a road playoff game. So it's very important when it comes to seeding, because you face the Buffalo Bills, right? Well, you don't face Pittsburgh and you don't face Cincinnati. Like the teams that we face in the AFC that would be competing for those type of things would be Baltimore, who we face on Christmas Day, and Kansas City, who we faced the week before that. Outside, because it looks like Miami's not going to be in that running. I doubt New England's going to be in there running, and the way the Jets have been so up and down, I don't think the Jets are going to be in there running either. When it comes to the Houston Texans, you have to find a way to win this game. That way, if you have to, because both of them, like I said, coming in, both of them coming in at 3. If whoever wins this game will be 4-1, the other one will be 3-2. So you have a 1 game advance, and also you have the tiebreaker. So I mean, the loser of this game to jump over them in any type of playoff standings and seedings, you would have to have a better record than the opposing team, the loser of this game. So you want that chip in your advantage. You want to have that winning record, the head-to-head matchup, the tiebreaker against said team. This could be the very difference from you being the number 2 seed to you being the number 4 seed. Like, it's a very good chance that this game could come down to when we back and we in January, that this game could be the swing game to this game could be the swing game from getting you from, like I said, the number 1 seed, the number 2 seed versus the number 3 or the 4 seed, which means more than likely when you go into the division round, the playoffs, you'll have to play that game on the road, and you have to go to a Buffalo, to a Baltimore, to a Kansas City, and things like that. You don't want to be put in that situation, not in the divisional round. Again, if you have to go to Kansas City, the AFC Championship game, so be it. But in that divisional round, you want that divisional round game to be at home. And I know you kind of putting the cart in front of the horse. We talk about stuff like that because we only in week 5 of the NFL season. But these are things that you guys start thinking about when you want to be a team. So just a little sidebar, how important this game is. Forget Stephon Diggs revenge game with Josh Allen. I feel like that's a storyline that's not being talked about, that we actually need to have a conversation about. I have a feeling that's a conversation that we need to be having, that this game could be a swing game and could be the difference from you being the number 2 seed to you being the number 4 seed. So this is what it is. But going to this game, CJ Stroud on the season is 94 off 139 attempts with 67 completion percentage. He is third in the NFL with fourth in the NFL with passing yards and 1,054 yards, averaging 2-3 yards per game. He has 6 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and a quarterback rating of 98.4. Nico Collins, who leads the NFL, by the way, has 30 catches for 489 yards, and 122 yards a game. He has 3 games of the last 4. He has 3 games over 100 yards. His lowest game is at 87. Is at 89 against Vikings 2 weeks ago, and it has 2 touchdowns. Stephon Diggs, 25 catches, 233 yards, averaging 58 yards a game, 2 touchdowns in that aspect. Tank Dell, who's supposed to be making his return this week, catches for 99 yards, averaging 33 yards a game, and no touchdowns. On the other side, Josh Allen. Josh Allen is 70 of 100, has 70 completions over 101 attempts with a completion percentage of 69%. He's throwing for 814 yards, averaging 203 yards a game, 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and has a quarterback rating of 116.5. Now, even though he has 7 touchdowns and interceptions, he has fumbled the ball 3 times and has lost 2 of his fumbles. His leader is Shakir, has been targeted 18 times has 18 catches for 238 yards, averaging 57 yards a game, and has 2 touchdowns. His second lead receiver is tight end Dalton Kincaid, has 13 receptions for 132 yards, averaging 33 yards a game with 1 touchdown. This receiver is Keon Coleman, has 8 catches for 120 yards, averaging 31 yards a game, and has 1 touchdown. So it does seem like that they've been throwing the football a lot, but they are one of the top leaders in points, because when you look at their numbers statistically, now offensively, in offense, they are 20th in passing offense. The Texans are 4th in passing offense. Now, in rushing offense, the Texans are 20th in rushing offense, averaging 106 yards rushing a game, averaging 4.2 yards per rush. And Buffalo is 17th in rushing yards with 110 rushing yards a game, but only averaging 4 yards per carry. But this is where none of those numbers really don't matter when you talk about points per game. The Texans are 18th in the league in points per game, averaging 19.8 points a game, while Buffalo is number 2 in the league in scoring, averaging 30.5 points per game. Now, I know a lot of that got to do with a lot of points against Jacksonville. They also got a lot of points against Miami, too. I think they put up 31. Yeah, they put up 31 points against Miami. And they got a game where they got blown out in, but they didn't have a good performance last time on Ravens. But this is one thing that's concerning about Texans points. The Texans are tied at 18. They're not just 18 by itself. They're tied at 18, and they're tied with Tennessee. They're tied at 18 points per game, tied with Tennessee, with having 19.8 points a game. That's good, though, especially being tied. You're tied with a team that has Will Levis as their quarterback, and you have CJ. and we're tied with them in scoring. That just shows how anemic the scoring offense is. Like the scoring offense is extremely anemic. Now when you look at the defensive side, the Texans are third defensively at rushing, only allowing 112 yards a game, and only allowing their ball carriers. They're 25th in yards per rush allowed at 4.7. Buffalo is 30th in run defense, averaging 156 yards per game allowed against them, and they're in their 32nd. They're worse in yards per attempt. They average allowing an offense 5.7 yards per carry. That's dead last, 32nd in the field. Pass defense. The Texans are fourth in pass defense, only allowing 161 yards, and they are fifth in yards per. They're 5th in yards per attempt, only allowing 5.5 yards per attempt against them. Buffalo is 6th in passing defense, allowing 165 yards. 3rd in yards per attempt, only allowing 4.9 yards against them. Now, a lot of that, I'm gonna be honest with you, when it comes to Buffalo's pass defense, a lot of that has to do with one, they played against Josh Allen. And I mean not Josh Allen because they have Josh Allen. They played against Trevor Lawrence where they blew and shut out Trevor Lawrence. And then also last week, just like they run defense, because they gave up 199 yards last week. Well, actually, they gave up over 200 yards total rushing because they gave up 199 yards just to just Derrick Henry by himself last week. Also, they didn't have to allow a lot of passing when the Baltimore Ravens were running as well as they were. So some of those numbers are kind of slightly skewed a little bit when you talk about their run defense and their pass defense. I don't think their run defense is as bad as it might be, as the numbers might say. I don't think they're a good run defense, but I do think some of their numbers are a little bit altered a little bit because of that Ravens game, and also because of that Ravens game and that game. And the what's the other game? The Jazz game. I think their passing defense numbers look better than what they actually are. I don't think their passing defense is that good. I don't think their passing defense is 6th in the league, and I don't think them allowing only 4.9 yards. They're average allowing less than 4 yards per pass attempt. I don't think their pass defense is that good. Not that good. I think their pass defense probably like the middle of the pack. I don't feel like it's that good. But I think some of that got to be with, like I said, the Ravens not passing the ball because they're going to run the ball, and then them going up against Trevor Lawrence and just how bad Trevor Lawrence is. We've seen that firsthand last week. Our passing defense, outside of the 3 big plays up against the Colts in week 1, our pass defense for the most part has been stellar. Now I do know last week some of that also had to do with just missing his targets, Trevor Lawrence, because we left wide open and Trevor Lawrence just made bad throws. And I think that's also the reason why the Buffalo Bills pass defense, from a number standpoint, look as good as it actually looks, is because of Trevor Lawrence doing that against them as well. So kind of benefit a little bit from both sides. Like I said, what I see with our pass defense from watching game in and game out, I can see that with our pass defense. And our pass defense was that highly ranked before the Jacksonville Jaguars game. The Buffalo Bills, I think it was like Arizona. They week 1, they had a shootout against Arizona. They allowed them to move the football. So I don't think it's as good as their numbers do, because look, also when you look at completion percentage allowed against them, the Buffalo allow the opposing quarterbacks to throw for 63% against them, while the Texans only allow their quarterbacks passing against them 57%. So we allow under 60%. They allow over 60% against them. And see, everything from what we average yards per attempt, yards per game, and also passing percentage matches up. But when you look at their defense, the completion percentage allowed versus the yards allowed versus yards per attempt don't really add up. And then when you look at their opponents and you see exactly what happened, yeah, you kind of see that. You kind of see, okay, again, they went up against an offense in Baltimore last week that dominated run the football. And then they also, the week prior to that, went up against a bad quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. While the Texans have been outside of the game AR, which he really only had three plays, 350-yard plays, he just chunked the football up and was able to make a play, able to cash in on a very risk or reward versus type of situation. Kind of cashed in on those. Hey, he cashed in his lottery ticket. Hey, it is what it is. Outside of those plays, when you look at how we did, what you call it, what's his name, Caleb Williams. You look at you. I know what you call had four touchdowns, and not Andy Dalton, but Sam Darnold had 4 touchdowns, but Sam Darnold really didn't move the ball a lot in there. Remember, like again, in that first half, they got a short field because of an interception. They got another short field because of a missed field goal. Those are the 2 times they scored in the first half, and it took a while for them to score again. In the second half, it took a while from when they scored that 14th point up until they scored their next touchdown. It took a while, and we also gave them another interception as well, so we gave them another short field. So it took a while. They wasn't just throwing the football all over the Texan defense, and then we also seen what happened last week against Jacksonville. So I don't. This passing defense is as bad. I mean, is as good, as dominant as it says. And their run defense, I don't think their run defense is good. I don't know if it's the worst in the league. It's probably, I'll probably say bottom half in the 20s. I don't think it's 30, 31, 32 like the numbers say. A lot of that got to do with the Baltimore Ravens. And again, the Texans can't run the football because, as I know y'all seen on the report, it looks like Joe Mixon's going to miss another game. I have no idea with DP. I guess he's going to be missing as well because from the last thing I seen is that Cam Akers supposed to be getting his 3rd start of the season. And the Texans can't run the football. This will be the game, a get-right game, a game against this opposing team, be able to run the football against them and be able to go out there and run the football aggressively against them. I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I don't know if it should be the target. I don't think the target should be run the football. I think the target lean towards your quarterback and C.J. Stroud and allow him to do what he does. That's what I feel like they should do. I feel like they should lean toward and allow CJ to do exactly what we know CJ capable of doing. What we thought going into the season this team is going to be doing. I think they should utilize the short passing game instead of actually turn around and hand the ball off to Cam Akers. I feel like we use the short passing game, little dumps and screens and things like that, little short passes to symbolize a running game. I feel like that's what should be. And again, y'all know me. I'm a Texas Tech fan. I was a huge fan of Mike Leach. That's the reason why I was a Texas Tech fan. And that's what Texas Tech did for years in the Big 12 in the mid-2000s. That's what they did. They utilized the short, quick pass game as a running game. That's the reason why they did not run the football very well. The thing is, Texas Tech, the way they should have been able to run the football very well. But Mike Leach wanted to use the quick, short passing game and things like that. That's also another reason why slot receivers, all the little slot receivers in the NFL, a lot of them came from Texas Tech. Wes Welker and Damian Amendola, Jakeem Grant. Like guys like that were able to come in because we used little quick, short passing games and used to get the football out very quickly out of the quarterback's hands. So especially if they're coming in with a blitz or they get quick little short pass, quick little dump off, gain 4 or 5 yards. It doesn't have to be a good 20-yard gain or a 15-yard gain. If you keep doing those quick little dump passes, it's the defense honest, because now the defense got respected and you're moving the football up and down the field. You just up here by 1,000 cuts, just boom, 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 very surgical, things like that. And you have a cerebral quarterback in C.J. Stroud to be able to do that. So I feel like, and then I think, and you got the playmaker. You got Tank Dell. You got Stephon Diggs, who I believe that's the whole purpose of what Stephon Diggs was going to come in to do. The things I thought that Stephon was going to be able to come and do, which he's been doing so far, is to be able to take away everything and get everything, do all the dirty work, all the cleanup work and stuff like that. Nico's going to be the guy that's going to be hitting over the top. That's why I always thought that Nico was going to be the number 1 receiver and the guy with the most yards on this team, because he's going to be the big play guy. He's the guy who's going to be getting downfield. And I always thought that that Stephon Diggs primarily was going to end up being the guy getting out of catches, and the reason why I thought he was going to get a lot of catches is because of that. Quick, short, little passes, going to be able to get all the stuff underneath, because that's what defenses are doing against the Texans. And I don't understand why Bobby Slowick seems so confused about that. I don't see why Bobby Slowick, like said, that he wasn't expecting them to run, like defense to run a lot of cover two against them. Like, I don't understand why you didn't think that the defense is going to run a lot of cover two against you when you come up here with Nico Collins and Stephon Diggs in the rookie leader in touchdowns last year, and Tank Dell, and the offensive rookie of the year, and C.J. Stroud, who a lot of people want to give the MVP to. Like, come on, you didn't think that teams gonna say, hey, we're gonna take away everything back. We not letting you nowhere back here. All that stuff up there, y'all can have all day and twice on Sunday. Y'all can have all day. We not letting you do nothing deep. We not ain't about to be no 75-yard touchdown on the first play of the game like you did against Indy, the first national televised primetime game that you had last year. The only had until you had the playoffs was that Saturday night game at Indianapolis. In the first play from scrimmage, you hit 75-yard touchdown, which ended up being very, very to you winning that game, you win the division, and being in the playoffs. So, how you didn't think that the opposing defenses, which we talk about all summer, people always kept saying, we got film on them now. Now we got film, we got film, we got film. It wasn't going to watch that and be like, we're not going to allow them to do that to us. We're not going to make the same mistake Indy made last year. We're not going to let you big plays and bombs down the field. No, 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 no. No, we're not about to do that. We're not about to let you have big bombs down the field. We're not about to let you do that. That's not what we're about to let happen. Not today. Not today. This is not happening. Not to. So I don't see why you didn't expect that. And so I'm thinking, okay, I guess the recipe for that will be the running game. And so, it's sad because Joe Mixon is not available and hasn't been available since week 2. But one, the offensive line doesn't block the run very well anyway. But Joe Mixon was able to do, he was able to do week 1 against the Colts. I know that will be the recipe for it, but also I would think that you would take Stephon, a guy who is very good. He's a very elite route runner. 2 very good to elite route runners in the NFL, in both Stephon Diggs and Tank Dell, and you won Dell to a gadget play guy by running all these jets and sweeps and all these jets and sweeps and keeps, all these other things you got Tank Dell doing instead of actually utilizing him the way that you should be utilized. Now, I know he had that one play that should have been a touchdown against the Bears that he dropped, and there was another play, I think week 1, that he dropped, or him and CJ just won in sync. It was another play he had on the sideline that could have been a big play too, but him and CJ didn't connect. But I do think if you do short little passes and you utilize those things underneath, because they're giving you everything underneath because they're taking everything deep, I don't understand why you can't just take that, because you have the horses to take it. I can see if you didn't have I can see if all you had was big plays down the field, guys. That's all you had. You had a whole bunch of big plays down the field, guys. So they take away everything deep. You don't know what to do. I can see they don't have that, because you have probably have the best, or like at least top 5 best route runner in the NFL in Stephon Diggs, and then you got a guy in Tank Dell who's emerging to in the big top 10. I think he's a top 10 guy already in route running. So you got guys do stuff underneath and you can get the ball out quick. Not to mention, and Nico Collins, one of his big plays last year that you always do was the screen. Because he never goes down on first contact. He always goes downfield like a running back and gets you 7. He don't even get you just 5 yards. He always was giving you 7 to 15 yards, anywhere between 7 yards, 15 yards on the screen. He would either get you 7 yards, or he would be in the 7 yards because he's going to break the first tackle and get to the next level, or he was going to break through and get an actual first down. His touchdown in the playoff game came off a screen. 5 of his plays last year that he was able to get a lot of big chunk yardage was those screen plays, and it's like we forgot about them. I think maybe we seen 1, maybe 2 this year. I know we seen one last week against Jacksonville. I feel like we seen the Bears on Sunday night. I do feel like we seen one against the Bears on Sunday night. I could be completely wrong, but I feel like we seen one against the Bears on Sunday night. But I know we seen one last week. He ended up getting the first down. I'm like, about time, screenplay. About time he do the screenplay. So I feel like those are some of the things you got to do to move the offense. And actually, if you look at it, especially when you go back and watch last week's game, in 2 instances, as like the game-winning drive, you seen the Texans offense click like it's supposed to. The first offensive possession when they got a touchdown, when Stephon Diggs rushed the touchdown. You see the Texas offense click like it's supposed to. Not just seeing somebody say a offensive line. That's the problem, because right after the Texans had the goal line stand against Jacksonville and stopped them on 4th down in the red zone, the Texans got the ball back like on the 2. Right. Next play was a 12-yard pass to to Nico. Play after that was an 11-yard catch. No, a 10-yard catch. And right at the first down, 10-yard catch by Stephon Diggs got the first down. Next play was a 11-yard run by was an 11-yard run by Cam Akers. So in 3 consecutive plays, you got 12, 10, and 11 yards. You moved 33 yards in 3 consecutive plays. Next was a hold by Shaq Mason. Boom. 5 yards. 1st and 15. The next play, they get a 10-yard catch by Stephon Diggs. It gets wiped out. By what? A illegal shift. So now, now, actually it wasn't 15 yards, it was 12, because it was 1st and 20 after the hold, and he got 15. Stephon Diggs got 15-yard catch. It got wiped out by a legal shift by Case Stover. So now it went from first and 10, went from 1st and 10 to 1st and 20 to now 1st and 25. The next play, they got the next play was a screen play to what's his name? The next play was incompletion. Then the play after that was a screen play to Mechie. Mechie got a couple yards. Now we sitting up here at 3rd and 18. After that was a play. After that, throw to Dory. Dory catches it, gets the first down, gets 33 yards if I'm not mistaken. Gets 33 yards on the first down. Now we're in their territory. Now we're in first down position. First down in their territory after those 3 mistakes. You know what happens next? We run a jet sweep to Sims. Why is Sims even on an offensive play? Let alone why is he out there, period, but let alone the offensive play. You run a sweep to him, he loses like 1 or 2 yards. Then after that, you get a hold from Larry Tunsil. Then you get a false start, if I'm not mistaken, from Titus. Something like that. There was another offensive play. You end up moving back again and moving out of field goal, because you were in field goal. With the play with Dory, you was in field goal range. You end up moving out of field goal range because of all the penalties, and then you have to punt the football back to him. That's the thing about the Texans offense that hurts them so. And that's the main reason why they are tied with Tennessee at 18 with points per game, only scoring 19.8. That's the main point, because we've seen it in the game against the Bears. We've seen it against the game against Minnesota, and we've seen it last week against Jacksonville. That the Texans, anytime they get in scoring position, they end up moving back because the offensive line hurts them. And we're talking about a team that's extremely, extremely, extremely undisciplined. Extremely undisciplined. And we need to have a real conversation about who's in charge and why is this being undisciplined. Because we're 4 games in. We're a quarter in the season and 4 games in. We know kind of similar, you know what I'm saying? This ain't just a week, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 games. The Texans lead the league in penalties with 40. Average 10 penalties a game. If this trend continues, they're on pace to have 170 penalties this season alone. And you know what I'm saying? Like, shout out to everybody, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the Discord. Part of Discord, man. Shout out to everybody in the Discord. Also, shout out to everybody also on the Twitter Spaces, because the conversation originally started in the Twitter Spaces after the game last week. Shout out to Dr. Barrett, because he had brought this up, because he had brought up Bill O'Brien. And, you know, Bill O'Brien, that's like a grenade. You know what I'm saying? That's a little hot button topic. You throw out Bill O'Brien's name in the Twitter Spaces, or if you part of the Discord, the Summers Discord, you throw out Bill O'Brien's name in there. Like you throw out Bill O'Brien around Texan fans, you throw that name out, it's like a grenade. Everybody tripping. Everybody, it's a hot button issue. But they were talking about the difference between Bill O'Brien and DeMeco Ryans. And like I said, there's a conversation that needs to be had because some people, I think y'all, because somebody said something about Bill O'Brien allowing the team, making the team more disciplined and more accountable. And people, I think y'all over romanticizing Bill O'Brien, those type of things was going. But it had me thinking, because also somebody's like, man, we have a bunch of penalties with Bill O'Brien. I'm like, I doubt it because Bill O'Brien is like a hothead. I mean, that's why his nickname in New England was Teapot. Like he's a hothead, and I don't think that he will allow his team to have unnecessary penalties. Because when you talk about false starts and you talk about offsides and you talk about illegal shifts and illegal formation, like face masks, things like that. I mean, not even face masks, but things like that, like unnecessary roughness and things like that. Those are unnecessary, undisciplined penalties. Some penalties, like a hold, like a pass interference, like depend on the type of roughing the passer, face mask. Some of those things, a lot of the time, unless they just flat out egregious, like you see somebody just completely doing, like pulling somebody down. Like I said, same thing with with a late hit or unnecessary roughness or a roughing the passer. Like, cause sometimes they become roughing the passer calls when the guy hits him and then like he tries to let up and he can't. You know what I'm saying? Like the way his momentum is, they'll pull out the flag. But it wasn't something intentional. But then also you got some when they just grab somebody and slam them to the ground. Again, though, you can tell the difference with some of those are unnecessary or if they're undisciplined. When you talk about offsides, you talk about illegal formations, when you talk about false starts, illegal shifts, those are unnecessary. Those are sloppy, undisciplined penalties. So, but just I want to be like, I'm like Bill O'Brien is not that type of coach. Like Bill O'Brien, I feel like holds teams accountable. So I did the numbers. Bill O'Brien was hired as Houston Texans head coach in 2014. His last full season was in 2019 because 2020 he only coached 4 games. And I couldn't get the numbers of the 4 games, the 4 games. I can only get the season complete numbers. But 2014, the Texans were 25th in penalties, only having 94 penalties on the season, averaging 5.8 penalties a game. That's Bill O'Brien's first year. Second year, 16th in penalties with 107, averaging 6.5 penalties a game. So, I mean, he went up. 2016, Doc Osweiler year. The Texans were 32nd in penalties. The least penalized team in the NFL. Only having 8 penalties of the whole season. Only averaging 5.4 penalties a game. Now, 2017, mind you, they were 3rd in penalties. 124 penalties, averaging 7 penalties a game. Remember, that's also the season when Deshaun Watson got hurt, JJ got hurt, Merciless got hurt. We had a lot of injuries. The team only won 4 games that year. Remember, like that's Bill O'Brien's up until his last season. The only losing record Bill O'Brien has as a head coach was in 2017. Only won 4 games and had a lot. I think they led the NFL. I think they led the NFL on IR, if I'm not mistaken. Just a bad injury-real team. Was 3rd in the league in penalties. The following year, 2018, they were 20th in penalties, only having 105, averaging 6.5 a game. 2019, his full year, and the first year of Larry Tunsil, they were 3rd in penalties, averaging having 111 penalties, averaging 6.9 penalties a game. Ironically, that outside, like I said, they had all the guys, all the injuries and stuff like that, only won 4 games. The one season that they were good, and the one season they were good with good and had a lot of penalties. It's also the same year that they brought in Larry Tunsil. Kind of interesting, especially with Larry Tunsil being the most penalized player in the NFL since he got here in 2018. Like, since he's got in the league, he's the most penalized player, and he's also the most penalized player on the team. Because he got 2 last week. He is 11. He has 12 penalties on the season. 11 of them called because one of them wasn't accepted. Like, one wasn't accepted against Minnesota because he would have 13, but one didn't get accepted. So 12 penalties on the season, And the Texans right now are on pace for 117. I know we got an extra game, so even if you take away the extra game, the Texans are on pace for 160 penalties. We got to talk about why the team constantly being penalized. Why is it allowed that this team constantly getting things? And why things have not been corrected? We're 4 games in. And it's very easy and clear to see that when you look at the team offensively, because again, we had 40 penalties. You know how many penalties on offense? 28 of the penalties are on offense. Only 11 of the penalties on the defense, and one's on special teams. Because the one that the Sims had last week. So 11 penalties on defense, which means, like pass interferences, you know what I'm saying, defensive holds, things like that. I think we had like a roughing the kicker. Oh no, I know we had one roughing the passer that what you call it was it Sam Darnold that which guy had on Sam. So you got that, but 11 penalties on the defense, 28 on the offense, and one on special teams. Like 28 penalties by themselves on the offense. And out of those 28 penalties, you know how many on the offensive line? Like Laremy Tunsil has 11 of them by himself. So 11, 28 penalties on the offense belong to Laremy Tunsil. Like, come on. Talk about this discipline. Why is this being allowed? When we know, like, remember, Laremy Tunsil, I got a target on my back. That's what Tunsil was saying, like, back in the Bill O'Brien days. I got a target on my back. Like, we got to talk about, because again, that's what constantly offense in the foot, because his offense be in scoring position. That's the reason why Fairbairn, who got messed over, by the way, if you wasn't going to give Offensive Player of the Month to Nico Collins, because they ended up giving it to Josh Allen, which, I mean, he won interceptions, and okay, but I mean, he does, he's like seventh in passing yards. Like, I don't see, the only thing I guess is because he had 7 touchdowns and no interceptions. But like, he's like 7th in passing yards. Like, so many people got more passing yards. Like, he shouldn't. I mean, it's whatever. It's whatever. But if you're gonna give him special team, if you're gonna give him what's it called of the month, then Kymie definitely should be special teams player of the month when he had all 60-yard field goals, 50+ yard field goals. He had 6 50+ yard field goals, and why he had to have those field goals, especially that 59 one he had against the Chicago Bears, was because of Laremy Tunsil and the offensive line constantly pushing the offense back after play after play. Anytime the offense gets in the groove and gets the grinding and gets the moving and groove, that's what they keep on doing. So I think if we can get this offensive line corrected and stop us in the foot, the Texans won't be tied with Tennessee with 19.8-point game. The Texans very easily should be scoring 28 points a game. This Texans I feel like the offensive line cost Texans at least 10 points a game this season. I really do. That Bears game, the Vikings game, and I feel like they've cost the offensive line by themselves have cost the Texans at least the last 3 games, possibly, potentially even more. But I'm gonna just stop it right and say 10, just to be on the safe side. But I do believe against my better judgment. I know it's against my better judgment. I know it is. Against my better judgment, I think the Texans Sunday. Not only do I think Texans are going to win Sunday, I got a feeling that we're going to see what was to us back in March, back in April, what was teased this summer. I feel like we're going to see the Houston Texans offense that we all expected to see and watch when September 8th came around and week 1 against the Indianapolis Colts. We definitely thought we were going to see on Sunday Night Football. What we mostly thought we were going to see at the very least last week against possibly the worst passing defense in the NFL in Jacksonville. I feel against the Buffalo Bills on Sunday, we're going to see the Texans offense that we thought we were going to see. And I think the Texans take care of business. I know Buffalo's coming off a blowout loss. I I wanted them to win against the Ravens because I wanted them to come in off a win, and I definitely didn't want them to come in off the type of loss that they had because teams don't get blown out 2 weeks in a row. The reason why I knew the Texans weren't going to get blown out against the Jags last week. The reason why I kind of figured it was going to be a close game like it was because you're not going to get blown out. The team's not going to get blown out twice. I don't think they're blown out, but I do think it's going to be a double-digit points. I feel like the Texans win 35-20. I think the Texans win 35-20. I think everybody gets involved when it comes to Nico, Tank, and Diggs. I think all three of them score at least once. I think all three of them score at least once. Diggs probably scores twice. I think CJ throws for 4 touchdowns. I think he has a clean game. I think he has a clean game. He threw for over 300 yards last week. I think he throws for over 300. I think last week he had 345. He's gonna eclipse that. I say around 350, anywhere between 350 and 370, 400 yards. I'm sorry, 350, anywhere between 350 yards and 75 yards. Has 4 touchdowns. He gets one to Nico. He gets one to Tank. I think he gets 2 to Stephon Diggs because Stephon Diggs is going up against Josh Allen, and they're going to make a point to get him in the end zone. I do think they're going to try to take away Stephon Diggs early, but they realize that Nico Collins is on the other side of the field, and then they start rotating over there. And then not Tank, but Wishcott gets in again, and I think we score 4 touchdowns from CJ, and I think that the defense does something in this game to make it out of reach. Because I think it's going to be 28 to deep into the game, and the defense ends out and closes the game. If it's a pick six, if it's a fumble return for a touchdown, they force a turnover because again, Josh Allen doesn't have interceptions on the season. He's 7 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I think that comes to an end because Josh Allen very much has a Will Levis factor in him. He very much has a Will Levis factor in him. He's the original Will Levis. Remember that game, the playoff game against us in 2019 when they were coming back. He broke and had a run and got the first down. And he's running and he's about to get hit and he just for some strange reason football back. Tries to pitch it back for some odd, strange reason, and it gets misdirected being a fumble, but I think the ball went out of bounds. So the Texans didn't recover because, again, that game ended up going to overtime. But he almost cost them to even go to overtime because he made that play. I feel like something of that will happen. He'll try to do a little bit too much, and I feel like he'll throw. I feel like he actually throws. I feel like he gives the football away twice. So he has 2 turnovers. Either one fumble in the pick, fumbles, 2 picks, something like that. I feel like he turns the football over twice, but he's gonna turn the ball over at the end of the game or close in like 5 minutes or so in the game, and either the defense scores a touchdown or the defense puts the football at close range and Cam Akers or somebody able to get a touchdown. Maybe even CJ runs a touchdown, something like that. But I feel like that's how it's going to be. CJ gets at least 4 touchdowns in the air, maybe even gets a 5th one. Probably Cam is able to get a rushing touchdown or the defense themselves gets a touchdown, gets a score. But I think it's going to be 35-20. It's going to be closer than that. I feel like it's going to be a 1 possession game deep into the 4th quarter. But not Will Levis. Josh Allen pulls a Will Levis stunt and gives you a Will Levis factor, turns the football over deep into the game and allows either the defense to score and capitalize on that or puts the great position to capitalize on that and be able to put points on the board. But that's why I feel like I had a game against my better judgment. I know because it's the Houston Texans and I know better. I know better. I absolutely know I know better. Like, don't get twisted. I know better. But I have a strange feeling, just like last week. What I wanted to dominate and do all these different things. But I had a feeling and I knew there was going to be a close game and that the Texans were only going to win by a goal. Now, my score was 17-14, But we still only won 4 points. We won 24-20. Like, I was close. I thought we were gonna win by 3. We won by 4. It was just happened to be more points. But I feel it's going to be a close game. Like, it's going to be a close game throughout the whole confines of the game. But I do think towards the end that something's going to get happen for the Texans to pull away, take over, and the final score won't really reflect how close the game was. The final score is going to make it look like, okay, the Texans was never in doubt. But it was a closer game. It was a competitive game. I don't think the Bills will get blown out twice. I don't think they'll be overmatched twice. But I do feel like they will be a closer game, but the score won't be indicative of what the game actually played out. Now, let's look at some of the Week 5 games. So, I think on Thursday Night Football, I feel like I feel like the Falcons are going to win overtime. I feel like the Falcons are going to go out there and beat Tampa Bay. And that's what I think is going to happen. I don't know. Yeah, I just got a feeling, like other feelings. I have a feeling that the Falcons on Thursday Night Football go out there and win overtime. No, but this we do have a game across the pond. We got a game overseas, which also means we have early football, which means we have 8 o'clock. When you wake up in the morning, you have an 8 o'clock football. 8 o'clock game. You got the New York Jets facing against the Minnesota Vikings, the 4-0 Minnesota Vikings against the New York Jets. I think the Jets win. I don't think Minnesota continues to be undefeated, so I feel like they. I don't think they're just gonna go rolling, and win all these games. I feel like they finally get a loss. I feel like the Jets beat Minnesota across the pond, and like I said, 8:30. Remember, 8:30 in the morning. I think the Jets go out there and they beat Minnesota. Now your 12 o'clock and noon o'clock games. So you got Chicago, Carolina. I feel like Chicago gets that win. I know Carolina's been putting up a lot of points lately since they had Andy Dalton. I think so. Like, makes Andy Dalton look like Andy Dalton again. And I don't even think it's really gonna be that close. Honestly, I don't think it's gonna be that close. I think Chicago played extremely well, and I think we finally get a good game out of a complete good game out of Caleb Williams. I think Chicago beats the Carolina Panthers. You got Cincinnati versus Baltimore. Baltimore been feeling good for the last 2 games, winning, especially the way they dominated. That game is in Cincinnati, by the way. I think Cincinnati wins that game. I think Cincinnati wins that game and makes that starts to clamp in that division, make that division tight. Start making because we got Baltimore's 2 now, which calls 1-3. They win. They're both 2-3. Baltimore now. Cincinnati now has the lead as far as the tiebreak between those two, and I feel like that's what's gonna happen. So I feel like they're going to get a little bit tighter because I feel like Cincinnati beats Baltimore. You got New England versus Miami. I think New England wins. For some reason, I just got a feeling that New England beats Miami. Washington versus Cleveland. I think Washington wins. I think Washington's a roll. I think Washington's a good football. I had Washington getting to the playoffs. I have them getting in as a wild card, but I definitely think they might have a real good chance of winning division. We'll see exactly how Washington plays when they go up against them because they haven't played in division opponents late yet, and I think all the divisional games are at the back half of the season. So we'll see exactly what it is. Could Jalen Daniels be just like RG3 when Rookie did and win the division like RG3 did? 12. Remember, RG3 second pick in the draft, behind somebody who was clamoring to be the number 1 pick 2 years in a row. Like, they said Andrew Luck was going to be the number 1 pick if he came out the year prior, but he stayed another year at Stanford. Obviously, ended up being drafted. Him and RG3 both came out, and even though Caleb Williams went to the, Andrew Luck went to the playoffs with the Indianapolis Colts but didn't win the division, RG3 won the division and won Rookie of the Year. Kind of the same thing. Remember, Caleb Williams came out last year. Caleb Williams was undoubtedly number 1 overall pick. That's what they were saying. People were saying, hey, don't draft a quarterback. Wait for Caleb Williams. That's what they were saying. And Jalen Daniels look like he's in the same situation that RG3 in, 12 years later? Yeah, because 2012, 2024 years, so 12 years later. And, history will repeat itself 12 years later. Washington has a very good chance. I think Jalen Daniels does win Offensive Rookie of the Year, and I think that it's a very good chance that Jalen Daniels, Washington Commanders, actually win the division. They have a real good chance. But I have Washington, the Cleveland Browns, Jacksonville versus Indy. I would like to say a tie, but Jacksonville beats Indianapolis. We actually need Jacksonville to beat Indianapolis. I don't care if Jacksonville gets a win while they're 0-4. I don't want the Colts to be. I don't want the Colts to have their third win. I don't want the Colts to continuously be a game. I don't want that. Even though the Texans have a tiebreaker against them already, I don't want that. So I need Jacksonville to go out there and beat the Colts. So I'm going for Jacksonville. I think Jacksonville goes out there and they beat the Colts. The 3 o'clock window games, you have Denver versus Las Vegas Raiders. I think Vegas wins that. You have San Francisco versus Arizona. I have another feeling. I think that Arizona gets it done against San Francisco. I think San Francisco is taking several seats back. San Francisco still a good team, still a team that's going to make the playoffs. I think they're going to take several steps back as far as being the dominant team that we've seen for the last couple of years constantly in the Super Bowl. I think San Francisco loses Arizona Cardinals. You have the Las Vegas Rams versus the Green Bay Packers. I think Jordan Love has knocked off some of their rust because Jordan Love started feeling it later on in that game last week. I think that Jordan Love plays well against this Ram defense. It's not another way. I think Green Bay goes out there and they win and they beat the Las Vegas Rams. The LA Rams. Then you have Seattle versus the New York Giants. One's the New York Giants, probably one of the worst teams in the NFL. I think Seattle goes back and they win the New York Giants. Sunday Night Football. Pittsburgh Steelers host the Dallas Cowboys. I think Pittsburgh loses their second game in a row and Dallas wins. And now you have Pittsburgh at 3-2, Baltimore and Cincinnati at 2-3. And like I said, that division starts getting a little bit tighter. That race starts getting a little bit tighter and a little bit clamper. And okay, hey, now both Baltimore and Cincinnati a game back. And I don't know who plays who next, but it's very, very possible the next 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, all three of them could be tied with the same record. And now we talking about we don't know who gonna win that who's coming out. So I think that's what's gonna happen. Then Monday Night Football, Kansas City Chiefs host the New Orleans Saints. And I think Kansas City beats New Orleans. The teams with a bye week this week. You got Detroit at a bye week with 3-1. You got the Los Angeles Chargers with a bye week at 2-2. Philly has a bye week at 2-2. Tennessee has a bye week at 1-3. Like those are the 4 teams with a bye week. Detroit, Chargers, Eagles, Tennessee. Like I said, Chargers 2-2, Philly 2-2, Tennessee 1-3. Those are 4 teams with a bye week. And just to cap it off, just to recap. I got the Jets beating Minnesota in the 8:30 game. Remember, 8:30 in the morning, I got the Jets beating the Minnesota Vikings. Then the 12 o'clock games, I have Chicago beating Carolina. I have Cincinnati beating Baltimore. I have New England beating Miami. I have Washington beating Cleveland. I have Jacksonville beating in the 3 o'clock games. I got Denver beating. I got Vegas beating. I have Arizona beating San Francisco. I have Green Bay beating the Rams. I have Seattle beating the Giants, and then the 7:30 Sunday night I have Dallas beating Pittsburgh, and the Monday night game I have the Kansas City Chiefs beating New Orleans. Those are what I have going into this week for Week 5. That's what I think is going to happen across the NFL. Going across the NFL, we getting clapped Sunday or what? No, I don't. Like I said earlier, I know it's against my best judgment. I don't think that's the case. I have a feeling that we're gonna go out there, we're gonna play extremely well. I think we have a clean football game. I don't think that we're gonna have any offensive line penalties. I know crazy, right? I don't think we won't have any offensive line penalties. I have a because I don't really see us continually having this trend of having averaging 10 penalties a game. Like there's no way you can win football games like that. I don't care what what Pendergast said on the radio earlier this week, because he said that there's no connection between good teams and penalties and bad teams and penalties. He said that there's no. I completely, utterly disagree with him. Not saying that. I'm pretty sure there's the team that's been high have high penalties, and there's been bad teams that had low penalties. I'm not saying that. 'Cause I'm pretty sure just like you've had good teams that gave yards, and you've had bad teams that didn't give up a lot of yards. You've had good teams that have a negative scoring deficit, and you've had bad teams that have had a good scoring. Like that happens. Like nothing is mutually exclusive. The thing is, you cannot consistently win by you constantly getting penalties, constantly allowing teams to have because you're moving them up the field, because you're allowing them to move the ball, because you constantly giving them free first downs and free yardage. Or I feel like even worse, you're costing your own self points. Another thing too, like the type of penalties that we're getting, we're not even putting them in better field goal range or putting them in better scoring range or bailing them out on bad. We're not even doing that, and that's still bad. We're stopping our own offense. We're our best weapon, which is our offense. We have a quarterback. We have a receiver, lead league in receiving yards. We have a quarterback that's top 5 in receiving and throwing. Like we are hurting ourselves offensively. The Texans should be scoring anywhere between 25 to 29 points a game. When the Buffalo Bills with Josh Allen, with his leading receiver being Nikhil Shakir, and his other leading receiver is Dalton Kincaid, and his third leading receiver is a rookie, Keon Coleman, out here averaging 30 points a game. He's only thrown for 800 some yards. There's no reason why we only scoring 19 points outside of we keep moving the football back and taking ourselves out of scoring range. That's the reason why points, because again, we're 3-1. Like we're 3-1, we have won football games. It ain't like we're 0-3, 0-4. We've won football games, or we won in 3. But very easily we could have been 1-3. I could make a case that like you could have lost the game. What you call it? You could have lost the game against the Colts. You could have lost the game last week against Jacksonville very easily. And the culprit is the offensive line. Maybe much in that Colts game, but I mean, the offensive line definitely cost you in that Bears game. And that offensive line issue made that Bears game close because you actually dominated the Bears game. Like we actually dominated the Bears game. It don't look or feel like we dominated the Bears game because we didn't put up no points. The reason why you didn't put up no points is because you kept shooting yourselves in the foot. And that goes back to the offensive line. So I feel like we're going to have that cleaned up. I feel like we're going to have that cleaned up, and we're not going to have penalties. And you're going to see when we don't have those penalties how well the offense moves. Because the 2 drives last week when you didn't have no penalties offensively was we walked down there and scored a touchdown. When the Stephon Diggs played, walked down there and easily scored a touchdown. And then boom. Also, the last drive, you was able to win there and got in the scoring range extremely quickly on the last drive of the game when they drive to win that game. No offensive penalties. And then also, I think even more so than those 2 drives, the one in the middle, well not in the middle, but the drive before that, when you stop Jacksonville on 3rd down, you go 3 yards in 3 plays, 3 consecutive plays. Gets you 3 consecutive first downs. You move and get 33 yards. You get a 12-yard reception with Nico. You get a 10-yard reception with Stephon Diggs. You get a yard run with Cam Akers. And then what after that? The offensive line starts setting you back and put you at one point at 2nd and 25. And you're able to convert and get a first down. After that, Doherty makes a good play, gets you 33 yards, whatever it was, right there. And now you're in scoring range. And what happens again? Offensive line starts costing you, and you went in scoring field goal range to out of field goal range and came up empty, no points, and had to punt the football. That's what happened in that game. So the offensive line penalties is directly that. There's no mistaking it. You move the football very easily. Boom, 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 boom. 3 consecutive plays. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Offensive line starts shooting themselves in the foot. Now you knock back. But you're still able to make a good, incredible play. Get back, and not only get the first down, but put yourself in scoring position. And what happens again? The offensive line starts shooting yourself in the foot, and you can't make up for it. And now you have to punt the football. That's what happened. And I feel like if you clean that up, the Texas offense goes from scoring 19 points a game, they very easily score 25 to 30 points a game. Very, very easily. You have the offensive, have the repertoire to do that. You have it. You absolutely have it. You watch it. I can see it going on. Absolutely. I can absolutely see it going on. Absolutely. You can see it going on. But the offensive line got itself in the foot, y'all. Like, let's be honest. The offensive line has to stop shooting themselves in the foot. If they stop shooting themselves in the foot, the offense will be what we always thought this offense was going to be coming into this. And I know it's against my best judgment, but I feel like I can have a strong feeling. I don't know if it's because the H-Town Blue didn't got to me. I got too much H-Town Blue on. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying? Too much, even Nike showing off on the H-Town Blue. I got so much. I don't know what it is. But I have a strong feeling that the Texans offensive line does not shoot the offense in his foot, does not hold the offense back. And CJ Stroud has, I think the offensive line has a clean game from a penalty standpoint, and potentially also a clean game from allowing sacks. Because, I mean, CJ's been sacked 14 times in 4 games. I think that they're able to get the football out. They're able to use the quick, short passing game, and I feel like CJ there, and looks like how we thought the MVP. Which, I mean, CJ's been playing well this season anyway. I mean, those 2 interceptions withstand that he's definitely had. he's definitely had definitely having a good season, and I think CJ goes out there. Though, like I said, he go out there and he gets at least 4 TDs, 4 touchdowns. Everybody from Stephon Diggs to Nico Collins to Tank Dell gets involved in the plays and gets involved in the end zone and scores touchdowns. And the Texans go out there and win. I think the defense makes some key plays. Too, and they're going to force Josh Allen and make Josh Allen give his best. Will leave his impression and does a costly, crucial point in the game. And the Texans end up winning 35-20. That's why I feel like it's, again, I understand. I know it's against my best judgment because I shouldn't. Like I said before, I ain't speaking for these guys no more. I'm no longer speaking for them. I got a strong feeling. I don't know what it is. I got a feeling. I don't know what it is, but I feel like the Texans gonna put up some points, y'all. I feel like the Texans offense is gonna go out there and look like the Texans offense that we expect them to look. I don't know what it is. I don't know. Now, I do want to talk about it's H-Town Blue Day. You know, we had a lot of people talking about it. I'm get to see these H-Town Blue jerseys. I mean, it is very quickly. I don't remember if I said this when the schedule first came out. I didn't want that first home game to be a prime time. I want Texans to have 2 primetime games at home, which we've done. We had two primetime games at home. Week 2 against Chicago Bears, and then week 10 against Detroit. The reason why is because I thought that both our alternate jerseys, our Battle Red and our H-Town Blue jerseys, were very, very special. They were very, very innovative. I mean, we're the first team with 3 completely different helmets. And not a throwback helmet. Like I know, like who's that? I know the Denver has a third helmet. Denver has a white helmet and a blue helmet. And then they also have their throwback helmet. But like this is a helmet. I'm talking about without a throwback helmet, just an actual, like the team itself has 3 completely different helmets. And we have our regular helmet, we have our Battle Red helmet, we have our blue helmet. All right, cool. And they're completely different. Like it's not even the same logo, just with a different color helmet. Like, no, it's 3 completely different helmets. Like, you got 3 completely different logos. You got the Toro on the regular helmet. You got a red helmet, and then you have an H on the H-Town Blue helmet. So I wanted to see both of the I wanted to see both alternate jerseys. I'm getting off the target. I wanted to see both alternate jerseys on primetime. I felt like that's the best way to see things in the NFL. You know, the prime time, you know, like the NBC games, which I think NBC, the Sunday Night Football games, have the best production level. Monday Night Football on NBC / ESPN, they production level as well. Then also Thursday night games, Amazon Prime. Like, those production levels are better than CBS and Fox because those primetime games they put into it financially, that the lighting and everything, and also it's games that's showing body as well. It's also like it's showing all across the world. Like I feel like those primetime games have the best feel and things like that, and I feel like that was gonna be the best way to see jerseys. So when I seen that our first home game was a primetime game, I'm like, man, I already know we played like we always since I think like 2005 our home games have always been Liberty White. Like since 2005, we've done either 2005 or 2006, one or two. Our home games have been Liberty White, have been the Liberty Whiteout game. So I felt like I'm like, man, okay, so that's what we're gonna do, Liberty White, which is cool. Which I thought the Liberty White did look good on prime time, but I'm like, that means one of these alternates is not gonna get a primetime game and end up being H-Town Blue. Uh, this is the one and like I said, this is the one I actually really wanted to see uh in primetime lighting because when the jerseys were released, when I first seen the jerseys, my favorite was the Liberty White. My second favorite was the H-Town Blue. My third favorite was the Home, and then Battle Red was the fourth. Again, I like all four of our jerseys sidebar. I think all four of our jerseys are way better than the previous jerseys that we had. The previous Home, Away, Battle Red, and Color Rush jerseys that we had prior. Four of our jerseys, I feel like none of them are misses. I like all the I like the combos and everything, like the all white, the white and blue, the blue and white, the all blue. Like I said, I like both the red and white, the all red, like the H-Town Blue one. But I just wanted to see them in prime time because I like our jerseys. Like I said, I don't like the pictures of our jerseys. Like the game pictures that the Texans post themselves, like from their edits or from like their media, those jerseys, like they look good. But anytime I see a picture of like a game from the Texans, like I don't know if it's like a filter they got on it, but like the jerseys, like they don't even like. I know some people say they look black. They don't even look black. They look like a grayish, gloomy color. Like I don't know. I just don't like the way the pictures. I don't like the way that the pictures and action jerseys looking. I would like for them to look better, and I want to see this game and see these jerseys in actual and see them at their best. I want to see them at their best. So hopefully next year we get some more primetime games and we're able to get this H-Town Blue primetime game and get to see these H-Town Blue games primetime lights because you can only wear your alternate jerseys a combination of 3 times. So this game is H-Town Blue. The Lions game is all red. I feel like that game is gonna be the all red game. And then I feel like the other one, we're probably going to wear the red jersey, white pants, and red helmet and white pants against Baltimore on Christmas. I feel like that's the other game that we're going to wear. We're not going to wear it. I think this is the only time we're going to see the H-Town Blue game. The only time we'll be H-Town Blue. I like the way the field looks. I like the way the end zone looks. I like cause I really like this Toro, like this dark Toro trimmed in that blue. I really like that Toro. I actually wanted that Toro to be on the field. They put the H on the middle field, but I want to see that Toro on the middle field. But it is what it is. Also, you know, I think like 75% of America is gonna watch this game. Like this game is gonna have it's not gonna be nationally televised because it's not gonna be in all the markets, but the majority of the country is going to watch this game, which makes sense. Like I don't know, this game is not a primetime game itself. Honestly, even this week, your primetime games was Thursday night. You had the Falcons and Tampa Bay, which I mean, Tampa Bay won a playoff game. I mean, yeah, Tampa Bay won a playoff game, and the Falcons had Kirk and things like that, and had got an offense that people want to see. So that makes sense. Sunday night is Dallas and Pittsburgh, which is just two complete national brands. Like that makes all the sense in the world. Just the two complete national brands. That makes all sense in the world. The game that I don't understand is the Monday night game of Kansas City and New Orleans. I don't get that game. I don't get that game. I know Pat Mahomes, and the Kansas City Chiefs. That makes sense. I don't get why them versus New Orleans is a primetime game. Like looking at the rest of the game schedule, Cincinnati and Baltimore, that could have been a primetime game. Miami and New England, nah. Carolina and Chicago, nah. Jacksonville and Indy, nah. Detroit and Vegas, nah. You could kind of make it. Arizona and San Francisco, maybe. The Rams, Green Bay, yeah, you can. Yeah, both teams were playoff teams last year. You can make a case for that. But I thought the one that made the most sense would be us, would be the Texans and the Bills. Outside of Dallas and Pittsburgh because of the fan bases. I know Pittsburgh started off 3-0. Outside Dallas and Pittsburgh because of the fan bases, and like I said, Pittsburgh starting off 3-0. I think that Bills like are the most intriguing game this week. Like, and I'm talking about before the season. Like I'm talking about before the season when the schedule was made, and even after the season has gone on. I think that I feel like that's the best game on the docket on the ticket outside of Dallas and Pittsburgh, and I give you Dallas and Pittsburgh because those are the two biggest brands in football. So I give you that on the ticket. But Texans Buffalo, I feel like is the biggest game on the ticket. Besides that, why is Kansas City and New Orleans on Monday Night Football? Like, why is that? Like, it's Monday Night Football. We're gonna watch it. KC, Pat Mahomes, we're gonna watch it. People got fantasy implications. We're gonna watch it. But why is that the Monday night game? That should not be the Monday Night Football game. It should be like it should be Buffalo and Houston. The only thing I can think of is that they already had Buffalo on Monday night versus Jacksonville the week prior, and then they also have Dallas, not Dallas, but they also had them on Sunday night last week. So, and then also the week before that they had Miami on Thursday Night Football. So they had Miami on Thursday Night Football, then they backdoored and had Jacksonville on Monday Night Football, and they backdoored at Baltimore and Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. So that was 3 weeks in a row. So you're not gonna give them 4 weeks in a row. That's the only thing. But then I'm sitting there thinking about but that Jags Bills game. One, it was the Jags. Two, it was it was a doubleheader Monday Night Football game, which means you already had a Monday Night Football game already on the ticket because you had Eagles versus the Commanders. You can't sit here and tell me if you ask before the season, ask anybody, what was a more intriguing game? Bills versus Jacksonville or Bills versus Texans? Everybody outside people in Jacksonville, Florida, would say Texans versus. Ain't nobody was gonna say Jags and Bills out of the people that live in Jacksonville. And probably even some of them probably would say still Texans and Bills. Most of Stephon Diggs. We're not even gonna mention CJ and Josh Allen. Both of them are good football teams. Both of them went to the playoffs last year. Both of them won a playoff game. Both won the division last year. In the Stephon Diggs situation. So, they could just not have them on Monday about 2 weeks ago. Because nobody would have cared. They could put any other team that was playing that week for a doubleheader if they just want to. I mean, last week they had Miami, Tennessee. And I know that's because of Miami and Tennessee had a good game to follow, like last year on Monday Night Football games. They really just trying to repeat that. But my thing is, I have a doubleheader. You just didn't have to have a doubleheader right then and there. Like you didn't have to have. I mean, you already got a doubleheader the following week, and then I think they got a doubleheader next week on Monday Night Football. Like you just didn't have to have a doubleheader. But hey, it is what it is. That would have made way more sense to have the Texans and make this Texans-Bill game, like the Texans versus the Buffalo Bills. Like, again, you put these 3 games up. You have Bills versus Jacksonville, Texas versus Bills, Kansas City versus New Orleans. What game is more intriguing to the masses? I mean, people do want to watch Kansas City, but their opponent is New Orleans. I don't really think, again, they've been playing against anybody else, it would make sense. Like, but they're playing against New Orleans. There's no shade, but like, Come on. To me, I mean, and I'm not just speaking as a Texas fan. To me, it makes very simple sense. You don't have Jacksonville in Buffalo as the Monday night, the second Monday night game, or the first Monday night 2 weeks ago. And then the Texans, and especially it ended up being a blowout. Then the Texans and the Bills, you can have that as this Monday night. That way you don't have to have Buffalo, you don't have to have New Orleans and Kansas City on Monday Night Football. Boom. I fight. Everybody will want to watch that, and then we can have what I wanted, the H-Town inside primetime lights. We could have had that. It could have been very, very simple. They should have me do the schedule because that, to me, that makes more sense. Speaking from a Texas fan, I'm speaking from a football fan in general. To me, that makes no sense. To me, that makes the most sense. Maybe I'm tripping, but to me, that makes the most sense. To me, it just does. It just does. It is what it is, though. The battle red with white bottoms. I think it's not 100% sure, but I think we wear the battle red with the white pants. I feel like that's going to be Christmas against Baltimore. To me, that makes sense. Christmas. Uh, to me, that makes sense. Red and white. I mean, Christmas colors are with red and green. So I feel like that makes the most sense. Like the red and white. I feel like the against not Jacksonville, against Detroit. I feel like there's gonna be it's called Battle Reds. I feel like it's gonna be Battle Red, Cold Red, whatever you want to call it, Battle Red, Cold Red, and they're gonna be like I said, red helmet, red jersey, red pants. I feel like that's gonna be that game. I feel like that's gonna be the all red game. If those red flags don't pop on this, if the red flags don't pop this if the red flags don't pop on these helmets, I'm gonna be disappointed. Uh, I don't know. Like they might pop. I tell you what, they would have popped better. They would pop better in prime time lighting. I tell you that. I tell you that, Big Steve. I feel like they will pop better in red lighting. I think they'll pop better in prime time lighting. Man, wouldn't that have been so cold if they had the roof open? They could have had like light blue fireworks. Because another thing too, like if you go into the game, if I'm not mistaken, they got fireworks popping to let people know when to go into the stadium like an hour before and then like 30 before the kickoff. So like think about like the stadium open and they especially when they score a touchdown and you have light blue fireworks pop. Man, that will be clean in the night sky. Light blue, the H-Town blue fireworks popping in the sky. Man, that'd be clean. That y'all, that'd be clean. Man, I don't know if the stadium gonna open on Sunday. I would say probably not. Because the Texans don't like to open up the stadium. The only reason why since what happened in Jacksonville because they had it closed last week against Jacksonville. We thought they only had the stadium open because that panel wasn't fixed, and but they didn't want to be on Sunday Night Football with that broken panel. In the football with that broken panel, but the panel's fixed now, so they can open the stadium. So I don't know. That chrome red gonna look good. Oh yeah, it is. That chrome red is gonna look good. The first time that we see it is going to be on prime time. So then when we see it the second time, it'll be cool. But the first time we're gonna see these H-Town Blue jerseys are going to be on regular CBS lighting. And there's no shade to none of the CBS, but because actually CBS is my favorite and NFL theme song. That dun 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 dun, like that. I love that CBS song. I love that CBS song. I like that more than even more than Fox. Like I don't know. I just like that CBS. I like that CBS song. I don't know why. I just do. CBS song is cold. I like that. But it's no shade to CBS. But we're gonna see just the regular CBS lighting. So I don't know. I mean, y'all tell me. You tell me. I don't know. Uh, 31-17 Texas. Uh, they did again. But yeah, but like I said, man, I'm excited to see it. I can't to see these jerseys and see how it looks. Period. I can't wait to see how it looks. Period. So I'm very excited about this game, and I kind of shouldn't be. I wasn't excited like this excited like last week going against Jacksonville. I wasn't like it was like okay, the Texans play football. Like I was, I'm very excited about this. Kind of, I'm actually at the excitement level I was the first 2 weeks. Because even against Minnesota, uh, I thought we would beat the Vikings, but I was just can't wait to watch this game. And then last week it was like okay, like the first 2 games again, football's back against the Colts, and the Colts been talking all that trash, and then the second game was a prime time game. Want to see how it looked in the prime time. Uh, this week I'm very excited to play, and also to see the H-Town Blue. I'm very excited, extremely excited. It's very excited. And again, I know I shouldn't be, because I know this team too well. Like I know this team too well, so I shouldn't be this excited. I shouldn't, be, but I am. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. I know I shouldn't be, but I am. I'm this excited. I know I shouldn't be. This will be a Tank Dale game this week. I think this is gonna be Tank's best game of the season. I'm not gonna say it's gonna be a game. I do think it's gonna be his best game of the season. Mostly because he's gonna get in the end zone. I feel like he's gonna get in the end zone. I don't know. I don't even know if he'll get 100 yards in this game. He could. I think that Nico. I think Nico continues. I think Nico has 300-yard games this season. Now games. I think he has another 100-yard game. Now, I don't know if he has 100+ yard game like how he's been having, but I think he gets another game with 100 yards and still continuously being the leader in receiving yards. And like I said, we're going to start having a conversation real soon about Nico Collins being the best receiver in the league. I'm gonna tell you how I feel. I already feel that he is. I feel like he is the best receiver in the league. I feel like he's the best. I feel like he's the best receiver in the NFL right now. I know this is. I know this is a team. I know this is a league that has Jettas, that has Tyreek Hill, that has CeeDee Lamb, that has AJ Brown, has Jamar Chase. I think Nico Collins right now today is the best receiver in the league. You can miss me with that. He's the receiver that's playing the best. As still the best. No, as of right now today, I think that he's the best receiver in the league. Right now, I think he's the best receiver in the league. I think he's a guy who is the best in the league. And I think a lot of it does have to do with CJ. Saying that it's all completely on him. I think a lot of it does have to do with him having CJ. And I think with him and CJ since last year, they have the most explosive plays together, the most yardage. Um, they I think they have the best completion amongst each other together. I think that CJ and him they're on a trajectory to be kind of like a Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison type record-breaking duo, and that could be especially with how we were able to sign him to a very cheap deal. That could be very scary to the rest of the NFL. But anyway, man, I appreciate you came through here and kicked it with me before the game. Again, we will be live immediately after the H-Town Blue game. We're going to break down exactly what we've seen. So make sure y'all be right here immediately on Sunday. We're going to break down what we just seen. If you ain't hit the like button already, make sure you hit the like. I'm going to give y'all a little minute. If you ain't hit the like button right now, make sure you hit it. I'm going to give y'all a little minute. Give y'all a little minute. Hit the like button real quick. You know what I'm saying? Give y'all a little minute. Make sure you hit that like button. Like I said, appreciate everybody that came through here. Appreciate everybody that showed the love. Like I said, it was against my best judgment. I know. I got the Texans winning on Sunday versus the Buffalo Bills in H-Town Blue. The final score, 35 to 20. By 15, 2 possessions, 35 to 20. I think the Texans are up 28-20 late in the game. It's gonna be a close back and forth game. They're gonna be up 28 to 20 in the game, late in the game, and the defense is able to do something, ball back, either score or put the football in a quick scoring situation. The offense to put them up the extra touchdown, and that's what seals and ends the game. 35 to 20, the final score. Houston winning the H-Town Blue. If you're going to the game, make sure you there early. Make sure you wearing your H-Town Blue. You rep H-Town, man. Throw the matrix up. Man, appreciate everybody that came through. Remember, make sure to be right here at game on Sunday so we can talk about it and break it down. Appreciate everything, you know what I'm saying? Subscribe if you haven't, comment below if you haven't, click that bell, get more videos. I holla.